Heifetz, and I am joined by Dana Kelly and Craig Horlbeck, and we are live and in person for Happy Hour. Oh, not Happy Hour, Power Hour. There's actually a giant Happy Hour going on outside this Ringer office.
It looks like Heifetz has participated in Happy Hour a little bit.
The entire Ringer is out here for Core Week. We're in Los Angeles. There's a giant Happy Hour with every coworker we have going on out there, except for us and a few coworkers here. So we are chilling in LA, and we're going to get to a giant Power Hour today with basically all the famous players who might be bad or maybe good, the guys that we can't basically definitively say good or bad, and we're going to hash it out. But first, just since we last stopped recording, which was yesterday, and so in less than 24 hours, things that have happened since we stopped recording yesterday. Deebo Samuel went to the hospital and then was released with pneumonia.
Oh, he was released. That's good to hear.
Brandon Ayuk confirmed torn ACL and MCL. George Kittle, tight end for the Niners, has a foot sprain. And then Jawan Jennings with a hip injury was already out this week, meaning the healthiest 49ers receiver is Ricky Pearsall, who was shot in the chest 2 months ago.
Jeez.
Chris Godwin dislocated his ankle and is out for the season.
Brutal.
Mike Evans was writhing in agony on Monday Night Football and is out through the Bucs bye. DK Metcalf is week to week. Jamison Williams for the Lions is suspended 2 games for performance-enhancing drugs. Rams want to trade Cooper Kupp, and Andy Dalton was in a car accident today, and it seems like everyone's okay. That happened in the last 23 hours.
That's pretty wild.
I don't know where to start, but I think we just have to start with just of the various teams who've been destroyed. The Bucs receivers just being destroyed last night on Monday Night Football, starting with Chris Godwin dislocating his ankle. Craig, you are the king of don't play players in garbage time.
Yeah.
I want to start with, was Chris Godwin playing in garbage time? Or because it was like 90 seconds left and they were down like 10 and they'd already gotten an onside kick.
Yes.
Are you mad Chris Godwin was in the game?
I'm not. This is a rare pivot for me. I look, this game was within 10. Like you said, they just scored. They had recovered an onside kick. The play that Chris Godwin got hurt on, there was a minute 5 left, down 10. It's like, look, they were about at midfield. I don't know, man.
It's still within the realm of possibility.
You score, you get an onside kick, you kick a field goal, you win the game. I think this is a massive bummer. I don't think this was garbage time abuse. I got mad when it was like the Niners were up 20 and they were running Christian McCaffrey. This is not the same situation. A massive bummer. Godwin, not only is he one of the best players in the league this year, but it genuinely just seems like one of the best dudes.
Yeah.
And this injury was brutal. It's like the Dak Prescott, his foot's going the wrong way. Really hard to look at. They didn't show the replay on the live broadcast. And I think the saddest thing, if anybody has seen the video of Godwin in the cart after, he's on the back, he's sitting there, he's in an air cast around his foot. And he looks over at his medical trainer, his whoever, this guy named John. He goes, you can read his lips. He just looks at him solemnly and goes, "Back to work, John? Back to work."
Oh,
And
crushing.
just honestly, sadder than anything I think I've seen on a screen in 5 years. I can't remember the last time I saw something that devastating since I rewatched Titanic.
yeah. It's really, really hard to watch this sport sometimes. This is like, we talked about this the other day. I think even before this happened, where it's like, this is a ghoulish sport. Guys are
Yesterday we opened with a 15-minute conversation about Tua and concussions.
Yeah.
And watching the sport and how difficult it is, the cognitive dissonance at play.
Right.
And then one of the best, most lovable players in the league has a gruesome injury. And he tore his ACL 2 years ago and just finally is healthy and is back to normal. And now, his career is
in peril.
Well, as he said, back to work. And it's tough because you see him come back from the knee injury. We had questions about whether he could reach this level ever again. Leads the NFL in catches right now, Chris Godwin does. And the only player with more yards than Chris Godwin right now, receiving yards, is Jamar Chase. Like he's been
amazing.
Yeah, he's had the best year of his career by far. And so it's so brutal. And then on top of it, Mike Evans goes down just writhing in agony. It was horrific.
It looked really bad.
The most painful hamstring injury I think I've ever seen. It looked perfectly fine. I thought he was cramping.
Yeah.
It says he's out until after the bye, week 11. So he's coming back maybe week 12 at the earliest.
And what a crazy thing for Tampa. I mean, it feels weird to be the Tim Robinson. You got to make money on this.
Jalen McMillan time?
Yeah, exactly. Jalen McMillan will fill in. They have Sterling Shepard, who I
kind of think Shepard is going to be a big part of
Trey
this.
Palmer?
But Shepard's another Klay Thompson guy. Shepard left the Giants because he had the ACL into the Achilles. Like, it's not like he's a spring chicken. Jalen McMillan's a rookie. I think McMillan is the guy that I think is going to have a lot of role.
No, it's funny. It's a lot of these. So Jalen McMillan was one of the 3 Washington receivers drafted early, right? You had Jalen Polk, who's in New England now, and you had Rome Odunze in Chicago. None of them really performing that well this year. McMillan's kind
I
of
think
been,
Odunze has been fine. I
Yeah.
think Odunze's been pretty good.
Polk's struggling.
McMillan and Polk are having a rough go.
Polk is the most hated guy in New England. And
according to his coach.
Well, his coach is saying everyone's soft, and now Bill Belichick's just coming out and saying it was a team great against the run when I was there. So that's a whole blood feud. A lot's going on.
Yeah.
So the Bucs, just before we get off the Bucs, I feel like
God, dude. Back to work, John. Back to work
to
is
work.
the most devastating thing I've ever seen.
we should say that from now on when we have any fantasy injuries of our own.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Back to work.
Yeah,
That's
Exactly.
what happened. That's what when Rasheed Rice went down. I looked at my squad and I said,
Trying to rebuild my
back to work.
back to
my
work.
Back
roster.
to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to work.
So
God.
other things that
God.
happened. The
Man, that was so sad.
49ers were also destroyed. So
Destroyed.
they were destroyed. What else am I supposed to say? It's
Annihilated.
just to atomize, just to recap, Christian McCaffrey had to go to Germany.
Eviscerated.
Obliterated.
Hmm.
Oh, I thought you were going to do another one.
Neutralized.
Neutered.
Neutered.
Did we say decimated?
No, that's
That's
good.
1 out of 10. The Niners are like 8 out of 10. Because it's just to recap, Christian McCaffrey, Achilles tendonitis, Debo, pneumonia. Also, why was he not on that injury report? Just like the McCaffrey thing, how they Monday night, like Debo just barely be on the injury report, and they're like, oh yeah, he played 2 plays and he's got pneumonia. I'm like, I don't know, that was weird. Ayuk, ACL and MCL confirmed. So Ayuk, it's not just the rest of this season. I mean, that's something Ayuk probably, like Godwin, Ayuk probably won't be himself till 2026 based on all these other injuries we've seen. Because you have to, the way you rehab ACL and MCL are different. So you have to wait longer to start on one, and then like on ACL and MCL together makes it longer to begin rehab, longer to finish rehab. So he might not be himself for a couple seasons. It's God. The Niners just snake bitten.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what I mean. I feel like last year is just we're going to remember it as 2018 and last season were the 2 seasons the Niners were healthy and they made it all the way to the Super Bowl, and then every other year was just completely destroyed by injuries. The one I want to get to right now, this one just happened. So the Rams are open to trading Cooper Kupp, which on the surface makes a ton of sense because the Rams suck and Cooper Kupp's on the older side. You can't get rid of Matt Stafford right now. So per Jordan Rodriguez at The Athletic, the Rams have spoken with teams about a potential trade involving star receiver Cooper Kupp. Rams indicated a willingness to take on some of Kupp's 24 salary and are seeking a second-round pick. The Rams really were out here just like treating all these reporters like classified, just putting up ads in the newspaper, basically.
They even they're like, well, we'll entertain a second, maybe,
We'll take on some of his salary.
Well, there's some stipulations here that we're willing to work with you on this.
We always talk about how fantasy is nothing like the real NFL. Actually, it's exactly
Just send
like
in
the real NFL.
texts. Yeah.
So here's my question. On the surface, you see this, and you're like, dude, Chiefs. Go toss. You said to me, conditional third to Cooper Kupp, second if it can, if he plays a lot. Doesn't this have the ring of a guy who's like putting, like in fantasy, he drops in the group chat, hey, yeah, Cooper Kupp on the trade block, come get Cooper Kupp. And you're like, what's going on here?
What do you know?
Yeah, what do you know? Yeah, it's the Brian Windows. Now, why would the Rams tell every team in the NFL exactly what the price is for Cooper Kupp trade?
They showed him warming up in the last game.
Yes.
Showed him running routes on the field.
B-roll.
But didn't play him.
Yes.
Proof of life.
Soft launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically the trade equivalent of like
It
is. It's like a newspaper with the current date. They're like,
remember that movie?
see that?
Oh, yeah. Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Meg Ryan.
And the guy from CSI. What's his name?
Which one?
The main guy.
Caruso?
Horatio Caine.
Caruso. No, yeah.
Dude, I love the CSI Miami openings with him. It was like, oh my God. It's just like, hey, Horatio, she was strangled with a wristwatch. And he's like, looks like someone ran out of time.
Yeah. It was the Who, right?
Yeah.
About this,
We did a rewatchables on Proof of Life, by the way. Check it out. Bill
Also, I've been
that's a
asking-
rewatchable.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, of course. There's a one for us, as we call it.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I haven't seen that. I don't
Had
really
you
know.
heard of that film?
I thought that was a phrase, and I
It
didn't
is
realize
a
that was a
phrase.
movie.
It is a
Well, I
phrase
know,
within
but
hostage situations. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was a reference until you said it was a movie.
Yeah.
It
Russell
sounds
Crowe,
like a good
Meg
movie,
Ryan.
though.
It is a good movie.
What happens at the end?
No.
I mean, it's an action movie. What do you think?
Okay. All right. They get the hostages.
Russell Crowe gets the Russell Crowe's with.
There was some
Ryan?
real life controversies that happened with that movie. I think.
You mean on set?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't remember. Look at you. I too many rewatchables.
I'm not gonna say anything because I'm not 100% sure what happened.
Some
exactly,
Russell Crowe
but
stuff?
Go Google it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
yeah.
Famously not the best guy, I think, Russell Crowe. So
I don't know. I don't know. Again, I'm not
Learning
going to
a
say
lot.
anything. I have a question because this kind of reminds me of like real life. You said real life mirroring fantasy.
Yeah.
You know how in your leagues when you're negotiating with a person on a player, you're like kind of getting close to like coming to an agreement, and then the person you're negotiating with just announces on the group thread, "Hey, Cooper Kupp's available. All offers. Bring it on. Bring it on." Doesn't that just like that's the worst feeling?
Yeah,
in the
you're like,
world?
great. I thought we had something here.
But it's like
Dude, that's
it's
like the end of. It's
it's
like
actually
her.
it is fair game, but it's like also like fuck you.
It's kind of like her. Like you're dating
Yeah.
her the whole time, and then you're like, how many people? It's like 13,267. You're like,
Yeah,
damn.
you
I
never
thought-
said we were exclusive.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, it's interesting that these two news items happened today, obviously, or I guess yesterday was the Godwin thing, because Cooper Kupp would make a ton of sense on the Buccaneers now if the Buccaneers can convince themselves that they are legit like
Well,
Super Bowl contenders or
Well,
whatever.
but like, okay. But to get to what we're talking about, when we say I'm a little skeeved out by how the Rams are going about this trade request, because I feel like obviously on the surface, like, hey, we might not make the playoffs, we'll get rid of Cooper Kupp. But like, this is someone who the Rams GM Les Snead and Sean McVay, the head coach, have referenced as there are 4 pillars to the Rams. Like they've said this over and over. Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp are the load-bearing pillars of the franchise. Aaron Donald retires, Cooper Kupp. To move a franchise load-bearing pillar suggests to me, and this is
Also,
something
right when he got healthy.
right when he got bingo, Craig.
Before he gets hurt again.
We waited a month.
Bingo.
Before he gets hurt again, you mean?
Bingo. Because think about real fantasy. If you have someone on IR, like Jonathan Brooks for the Panthers, or anybody you've ever stashed,
You're
or
not
an
going to
injury,
trade him right before he's about to fucking play.
Exactly. TJ Hawkinson, the most insulting thing in fantasy is when you like have TJ Hawkinson, the tight end for the Vikings, who coming back from 20 ACL, and you have him on your IR for 6 weeks. He comes back and someone's like, hey, you want to give him to me?
And you're like, no, I put in the time,
Yeah.
the blood, sweat, and tears of waiting for TJ Hawkinson to come back.
Yeah, it's like there's no price. Someone's like, I didn't wait all this time to
Yeah.
give up on him. For the Rams to be like, yeah, we're just going to, give him up. Like, it's so weird. And I think we never talk about this enough, but when you have a trade with a player, it's actually a lot like poker or blackjack where there's an information disadvantage. The team giving the player away knows so much more about that player as personality-wise and physically than you do. And in this situation, the Rams know Cooper Kupp's body and what's going on in a way that you never will. Oh, DK smirked like he had
I feel like you're just like making this into conspiracy theory. Like they're not good. They're trying to trade him while he still has value.
Okay, question. I mean, they're 2-4.
It's very public. They put the price out. I don't know. It's weird.
Do you think this?
Well, so what are you saying they're doing?
I'm a little.
They're,
I'm
they're
saying.
worried about his health.
I'm
so
saying
they
I-
want to offload him and get.
Well, yeah,
something for him.
obviously.
I know,
That's
but
what
I'm
I'm
saying the Bucs trading for Cooper Kupp for him to immediately get hurt again.
That's a risk that they may feel they should take because remember, Godwin was playing the quote-unquote Cooper Kupp role in this offense.
Just
Liam
go get
Cohen,
Cooper Kupp.
Get Cooper Kupp to fill the Cooper Kupp role.
He's done it before.
This
He
is
knows
just-
how to run those routes.
This is just kind of weird because for all the things that we have just been talking about, but also Puka Nacua is still very hurt. He's not coming back next week.
Well, they'd actually just activated him from they put him into the practice window, so he has
So
like
they can
3
still
weeks to come back.
Yes,
Yeah.
so still not close to coming back.
Mhm.
This team is not. This team I mean, with Matt Stafford's age, I would say this team is more in like win now mode than anything with Stafford. Do you think this confirms that Stafford's probably done after this year?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I
Yeah.
think Stafford. They gave him the $5 million at the beginning of training camp because he was pissed about making less than all these other quarterbacks who hadn't won any playoff games. But yeah, I mean, I think Stafford.
It's like they're gonna get a second round pick for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
This just feels weird to me. It's like you're kind of giving up on right now.
Well, the Rams are weird because I think that they started this rebuild, and we talked about last year how they were like tanking, and then they actually were really good. But then this is almost like the hangover of the Rams are in a very weird. Matt Stafford's a win now quarterback,
But
but
the
like
team is very young.
no, and they lost Aaron Donald and everything.
Maybe they know. Maybe Stafford has just already told them he's like
This
probably
is
not
it.
going to come
and
back.
they're like, all
Yeah.
right, let's.
I mean, he's what,
offboard.
like 36 or 7?
Yeah, and physically he's probably older.
I mean, he could have retired 3 years ago. I mean, he was on a pitch count because his elbow 3 seasons ago. So, all right, that's all the crazy stuff with any other crazy receiver drama. In case I lost track of any of this stuff, Jamison Williams. Oh, the last one, Jamison Williams
Dude, what's this guy's deal?
suspended for 2 games for performance-enhancing drugs. If I get any part of
Wild
the story,
card.
I just called you a superstar, man. And this is what you do to me?
Honestly,
This
this
is
is kind of
superstar behavior.
superstar behavior.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
dude,
is.
in the
Diva.
words of
Wide receiver 1.
what did Stephon Diggs say this week? I've never been the bigger person.
I'm never the bigger person.
I've never been the bigger person
That's
a day
the
in my
best
life.
line. That's such a bar.
I'm never the bigger person.
Should that be the
Okay.
bio of our Instagram?
Yeah.
I've never been the bigger person.
Yeah.
Just in the Instagram Ringer Fantasy Football. Follow. I
I
think that's
was
the
it,
funniest quote.
I'm never the bigger person.
Either way, yeah, it's like
think
I've
it's-
never been or I'm never.
I'm
I'm never the bigger person. It's such a good one.
It's so amazing. It's just like that's like the receiver mentality
Diggs
in a quote. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I get it now.
Diggs
Like-
exemplifies wide receiver one behavior, perhaps more than any wide receiver, I would say.
Do you remember there was an interview from like a few years
All
ago
his
when he was on the
teammates.
Vikings, and it was like a guy was going around interviewing all
Who's the
his
last
teammates.
guy you want to date your daughter on the
Oh,
team?
yeah.
It was Sister, I think.
Sister.
But regardless, like, and all of them were like,
Diggs.
there was like 5 guys that were like, that's a good call. Oh, Diggs.
But
Definitely Diggs.
it was like the Bambi poll where it was just like every single person. It was
Ha, ha,
literally
ha.
unanimous.
Yeah,
Sorry.
ha, ha, ha.
The other was
Such a- unnecessary drive-by.
God, dude.
but the
This
Jameis
fucking guy.
the Jameson Williams thing. Can I just throw one thing out there? So
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's 2 games for performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
Weird length of suspension for
I
cheating.
know. It's like he took one injection.
It's like how long?
Just
how
one
much
leg.
cheating is like 2 games?
Yeah.
I feel like it's either 0, like fine him
Or like
$100,000,
6 to 8.
or 6. It's so
Wait,
funny
is
to
this,
me.
has he hasn't had a suspension because of PEDs
No, he got
before,
suspended
right?
because of
It's like a
gambling,
sliding
right?
scale.
I
So
know
like the
it's-
first one is like a certain. It's like there's
Is
a
there
whole like
is there a severity
schedule. Yes.
of PED usage?
Yeah.
It's like how many times you get caught.
But I'm saying like, if they found out that you had been using a certain type of drug or had been using it for a certain amount of time, does that matter?
Like anabolic steroids.
Yeah.
I don't. Isn't it funny though that a drug suspension is literally an eighth? It's an eighth of the season.
Jesus. I think there's I don't remember because there's a billion rules in the NFL. I don't even like know all the actual rules to the league. There's probably like a sliding scale in terms of like, you know, maybe it's just like class A, class B, whatever, you know, in terms of types, how stringent it's enforced. But I think it's also like there's a whole process where you can like you get tested, you get either like you come up negative, then you can like, you know, say that it wasn't you, and then you could go in front of like an arbitrator or whatever. I don't know exactly what the process is, but it's like a pretty long process, and then it ramps up and scales. And if you get caught more than once, like it's like exponential. So this is just the first one, but it's kind of like a shot off the bow, I think, by the NFL. It's like, dude,
Are you guys nervous peers? Do you think you could pee in the cup in front of the NFL people? Because like they know about the fake penis things now, so like they'll watch you. Do you think you could pee in the cup like every week?
this, you know, the secret is you count down from 10.
What do you mean?
What?
You just count. Literally just count. If you're a nervous peer and you're like
Oh,
worried about
counting
like
helps?
yeah, because it like takes
It
your mind off
induces
of
you?
it. Yeah. So if like you know like in the bar bathrooms when it's like
You have stage fright.
right next to you, someone's just like literally like
And
you
there's
can
no
like
wall.
Or
yeah.
if you're at the
see
Oakland
kind of like in
Coliseum
your
and you
perspective.
pee in the trough.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that is a different.
That's a good
different
trick. Try it
world
out.
there.
That's why they closed it.
You know my whole story about Craig's golden urine. We talked about that. No, we definitely have on the podcast.
0 chance. Craig's
Craig's golden
golden urine.
Yeah,
I
my
actually
friend
don't
in high
remember that.
school used to get drug tested, and I would pee in a cup for him. I would pee in a 5-hour energy bottle. I don't care that we're live. Who cares? This was 10 years ago.
What?
statute of limitations is
Yeah.
up
What
on
are we
it.
talking? Probably.
Yeah, I used to pee in a 5-hour energy bottle and give it to my friend, and he would use it.
For what? For work?
We don't need to get into that, but I didn't smoke. I was not a weed guy. I didn't smoke a lot of weed in high school, so my urine I only drank. Also illegal, but so my urine
Your urine's
was
clean.
marijuana free.
Yeah.
What did you charge for that? You get good rates.
Just a friend move, just a favor.
He's being kind of skittish right now. He's
Yeah, I'm
cagey.
not gonna name anybody.
Yeah,
you're,
yeah,
not gonna, you're not gonna know who it is,
That's
but
so
he knows
funny.
who he is if he's listening.
Greg's cool.
Is this the origin of the Gentleman's Piss
Greg's
Club?
golden urine.
Dude, this is a side revenue project for Gentleman's Piss Club. Is we can also sell clean urine.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's not.
We
gonna be an
gotta
issue.
figure out how to use the extra
That'll put us in
urine.
contact with
Yeah.
good people. I think
Jameson Williams.
we won't get
Peggy
caught up in
U.S.
any-
cycling. The
Lance
U.S.
Armstrong.
The U.S. Postal Service team.
Yeah, Russia.
All right. What were we talking about? I don't know. Moving on. Okay.
Greg's golden urine.
Craig's golden urine. That's
Did I
should
say
that be the
Greg?
title of the
Did
show?
I call you Greg?
I said
You
it
called
first
him
too.
Greg.
I said
you
Greg.
said him Greg.
If anybody needs pee, I'm still not a big weed guy. If anybody needs pee, let me know.
You're gonna get some weird.
Do you think
requests.
anyone's gonna be like, genuinely, I need your urine?
Probably.
I don't know what's going on in the YouTube comments, but yeah, let us know. Maybe DM us.
Where,
on,
Craig, where are
DM
you
us on the
located for-
Instagram
for
at
the
Ringer
people?
Fantasy
Yeah.
People don't need
Football.
to know that.
DM us if you need Craig's urine. DM us on Instagram at Ringer Fantasy
Or
Football.
I want email us if you have like ways you averted drug tests.
Yeah, ways you averted drug test,
That would be
ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com.
If you
Anything
had-
drug test related.
Yeah, if you had a friend who was their own version of Craig's golden urine, I want to know about it.
Or if you're a drug tester, if you're listening and you do that. I always was mad
Oh.
at Ryan Braun. I loved Ryan Braun because he was like a really rare like Jewish baseball player who could
The
really hit
brewer,
well.
right?
Yeah, the brewer. He was awesome. And then I was mad at him because he like basically tried to save his career by Armstrong did this too, by basically
He's like really indignant about it.
He threw the tester under the bus to try to be like he spoiled the chain of command on his urine, but like he did it, and so they just kind of ruined this guy's career anyway. If drug testers
Just
have wild
as a little
stories.
aside.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I'm not. Yeah. So anyway, Power Hour. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do the Power Hour.
God,
and
so much news today. It's crazy.
It's actually we should have just power ranked the news. But so
I feel like Niners
Craig.
fans, they're devastated about. Oh God, what?
No context Ringer Fantasy Football Show. Craig is currently confessing to crimes with a retweet of our live show here.
Put that out. That's good. That's good live. People like that live. People like live confessions.
You can prove nothing.
Yeah.
No proof. No proof.
I
That
mean,
was my high
legally
school.
is proof.
Yeah, I did say it.
That's
Come at me.
proof.
Come at me.
One of the like inside jokes with my high school friend group was like we would always just go no proof, and like when the Bambi thing happened, I almost used that. I'm like no proof, show me proof.
We just run the clip of you saying it.
Yeah, you think Bambi's less popular? No proof, show me proof.
Well, we had the revenue. That was pretty good.
That's
Revenue,
not proof. That's
the-
absolutely not proof.
Revenue, the poll.
The poll,
Well, right. I mean, that is
which was won by Mickey Mouse, which
you
wasn't
got,
even the argument.
Bambi got 16 votes.
Yeah, that was because no proof.
So we were gonna power rank the. We started with we were gonna
That
power
whole thing
rank.
was a lie, by the way. The Craig's golden urine thing. That was a lie.
You have a vivid imagination, Craig.
You know Pat McAfee as the bottom scroller? That's basically because Brett Favre sued them, and now it's just like over and over, like, do not sue us. This is a comedy show. We should probably add that before like Brett Favre sues us.
Yeah, John, can we get the Chiron to
Yeah,
say
just-
this is a comedy
This is a
show?
comedy show.
Just say no proof.
It is just fine.
No proof.
Copy and paste whatever the McAfee legal disclaimer.
No
is.
proof.
Okay, so we started. We were going to power hour. We were going to power rank how we were going to power rank famous players who are bad, and we came up with a rough list like a few weeks ago.
Because we just did the next generation of
Yeah.
superstars.
And then we came up with the list, and then all these people have played actually pretty well since then. And so now we're going to power rank. It's basically the most famous players who might not be good, and we're going to figure out where they are in the ratio of fame to goodness.
They're not as good as they are famous.
They're not as good as they are famous. That's exactly it. Yes. And we want to just course correct of how famous versus how good, and why they have the real estate in your head. And for those who don't know, we're going to do this Power Hour style. So we're going to count down, and every 2 minutes, you're going to hear this sound.
Tom, great song.
Best 3 seconds of every week is just hearing that. Okay.
Hits.
It does hit. So we're going to power rank these. It's a little tough to actually rank these because I feel like we're going to immediately undo all the rankings as soon as we decide. But we're going to have a little verdict at the end of these. So each of these, John Richter, please start the clock. 2 minutes and counting. Number one, it has to be number one on the how good and or famous they are. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the Jets. DK, is Aaron Rodgers still good?
I don't think he's like really good anymore.
He's good. He's good. I think that his coaching and his GMing and coaching is more of a net negative than his quarterbacking is still good.
Right,
You ever say? You
obviously.
ever like heard the expression "the proof is in the pudding"? Like,
The proof is in the urine, is what I said.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the proof is not in the urine.
Well, isn't there? There's all these stats flying around that he has. The Jets have actually scored the exact same amount of points as the Zach Wilson-led Jets from last year.
and they also have half the wins that Zach Wilson did through 7 weeks. That's my favorite stat.
They were 4-3.
They were 4-3, and the Rodgers are 2-5. Can you imagine time traveling and telling Sean Fantasy that a year ago?
Cooper Kupp to the Jets?
Dude, that would fix it. But he's never played with
No,
Aaron
but
Rodgers.
Tennessee was always out on this whole
That's
thing.
true.
They have two outside receivers. They don't have a slot. That's
No,
the
that's
problem.
true.
They need Cooper Kupp.
No, that's
Yeah.
good.
I would say, obviously, with every guy that we're going to talk to, there's shades of gray. I think Aaron Rodgers is still really good at some things, but I think something that would have been completely, predictable, he doesn't move as well as he used to, and I think that places a lot of limitations on the offense. We've talked about this a lot. The offense that he's running now is basically like him, not every play, but like a lot of the time, and especially in key situations on third downs, is like him getting up there, reading the defense, checking to something that he thinks is going to work, swing passes. Like it's a lot of stuff to the sideline, a lot of stuff that's just, get the ball out quickly, avoid pressure because he can't move, because he can't boot out and do some of the things that he used to be able to do. So I think, I don't know, like good is obviously a very relative term, but
I think he's good, but he doesn't deserve. It's not obviously it's not working with the Jets. That's not anything new. I was very jealous of Julian Edelman this week, who said this is Tom Brady's fault because
he
Tom
kept
Brady
playing
went to the
forever.
Bucs.
Yeah.
No, Tom Brady went to the Bucs, did it, won the Super Bowl his way with his offense and like his players, and now everyone thinks they can do it. And Rodgers is just trying to do the Brady thing.
I mean, if you look at Aaron Rodgers' numbers, they're like fine.
Like, don't you think
Yeah.
if Aaron Rodgers was on the Lions, would he be just as good as Jared Goff?
That's a really, but no, because Rodgers wouldn't like what the Lions are doing. The Lions do all this motion. Jared Goff turns his back. As much as Jared Goff's is a statue, Goff is actually one of the best play action quarterbacks in the league with like the pretend. Goff is like one of the best since Peyton Manning of like Goff every now and then the season can do a naked bootleg because no one thinks he has the ball. And so he's good at all the stuff Rodgers does. Frankly, zero interest in like turning his back and running
He's
the
in
play
his
action.
Ben Roethlisberger era where he's like, I'm doing what I want.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that really is it. It's the stubbornness of the stubbornness. It's like, your parent refusing to learn some new email application or something is what's holding him back. Because I actually think physically he actually still can do it. It's the cage of his own creation.
I think it's also just a continuity thing with the Lions. They've been doing this for a couple of years now. Like every player in that system knows, the system from like the back of their hand. They're all on the same page for the most part. Their run game is married to their pass game. Right now, that's not true at all with the Packers. Like their run game is struggling. The only thing good that Breece Hall does these days is like catch passes, which I think we'll get to eventually. And so
Yeah, we'll get there.
we'll get there. But yeah, so I think it's just not working how it's supposed to be working.
That big apology to Tom Tom.
Yeah, sorry, Tom. That's my bad. All right,
I don't
next.
care.
Oh, take that back.
Okay, sorry, Tom.
Thank you.
We never call it Genius of Love. We always say Tom Tom, great song. That's the band.
That's the band.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Genius of Love.
yeah.
Genius of Love.
We
That
don't-
is the
we
name.
don't ever say that.
Yeah, Deke is a genius of love. All right,
You are.
That's what they say. That's what they called me in high school.
Love guru.
no
Yeah.
proof though.
No proof.
No proof. Okay, next person of famous, but are they good?
There can only be this is the only person.
Travis Kelce,
Yeah.
Chiefs tight end. No need to explain how famous he is.
He's probably the most famous football player on earth, right?
I think definitely.
Definitely.
I think
More
definitely,
than Mahomes, you think?
Yes, he's dating
Because
Taylor
of the
Swift.
Swiftie thing? Yeah.
Yes.
What?
But dude, Mahomes. Okay, I'm not going to get into a fame thing
No,
right
we're
now.
doing this right. No,
Who's Bambi?
dude. How?
Mahomes is Bambi in this case. He's
Yeah,
been
he's
around.
Actually, yes.
Mahomes
Yeah.
is not more famous than Kelce.
No. Dude, the amount of new fans that Travis Kelce brought into the NFL, or that Taylor Swift brought to the NFL, coupled with the amount of people who actually just like the NFL and know Travis Kelce, he probably doubled his
DK.
fan
Think
base.
about all the podcast fans that know
But DK,
Kelce,
can I ask
too.
you this question? How many people, percentage-wise, know Patrick Mahomes but have never heard of Travis Kelce? Like,
None.
don't really know his name. If they saw his face, they wouldn't even go, who's that?
None.
Zero.
No,
Almost
not
zero.
none.
Come
But, like,
on.
very few.
He's a quarterback. Quarterbacks are like infinitely more famous
Who
than tight
knows?
ends.
Who watches the Chiefs and is like, oh, yeah, Mahomes has no idea what Kelce is? The amount of people
No,
who
it's
know who
people
Kelce
that
is.
it's people that like sort of follow what's going on in the NFL. People know quarterbacks. People do not know tight ends.
Dude, he has like 5 commercials.
He is like the most famous podcast in the world. He's dating the most famous person in the world, and he's one of the
Yeah.
best players in the world.
Everyone, like, the amount of people
Okay.
who know Kelce but don't know Mahomes is pretty
poll,
sizable.
time for a poll.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
YouTube comments, whatever. Yeah, let's do a poll on Spotify.
So anyway,
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah.
if he's good or not.
Is he still good?
You know what's funny is like, man, the fame part is important too. But he's been
He's
so.
clearly the most famous player in the NFL.
I think so. I personally think so.
Clearly.
I
Okay.
do. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Okay,
Um,
that's fine.
do we?
He's
even,
bothered by this.
No, I'm not. I'm bothered by your
you just
confidence.
Don't, you don't
in
think
it.
it's as
Yeah,
much
yeah,
of a.
I just look at it
landslide.
as who knows who Aaron Rodgers is but doesn't know who Travis Kelce
I think I
is.
just get bothered when Heifetz is this confident about anything.
That's fair.
I get
I
that.
support that.
So I don't actually want to die on this hill. I died on the Bambi hill already, and
Yeah, like
you know.
Bambi's mom. Yeah. You were,
yeah.
My-
See, you know,
My question.
because it's world famous.
yeah.
You guys
Just
were
like
asking what
Travis Kelce.
Bikini Bottom was
you
all
know-
about.
We did the
I,
whole.
I learned. Yeah, we didn't even.
We
get
learned
into
about
it.
Bikini Bottom.
We did not even get into if he's
did-
good.
Well, too late.
Do we run it back? No, we
Yeah,
just plow through.
Let's just move on.
Is he good? Yes or no?
Well, I feel like I want to talk about it. I want 2 minutes.
All
on
right,
it.
just do it. Go. Fine. We'll do
I
2 minutes.
don't know if I honestly. Part of me is. I feel like everybody is agreeing that like he's washed now, right? I don't know if it's
yeah.
because of Travis Kelce like truly falling off of a cliff, or if it's kind of like this Chiefs team in general and Mahomes are holding him down a little bit. If you look at some of the underlying metrics, like his target rate, his snap rate, all the stuff, like the amount of routes he's running, all of it's kind of similar. To be honest, a lot of this is just like the Chiefs aren't throwing that much. And when they are throwing, Mahomes is not that good. Mahomes has less passing touchdowns than Andy Dalton this
It's
year.
wild.
You know? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I wonder if the Chiefs do put this together in the second half of the year or in the playoffs. I actually kind of think Travis Kelce could like snap right back and he's not completely off a cliff. That's
bet
where
you.
I'm kind of at with Travis Kelce.
I think my take on Travis Kelce is he's going to be really good in like week 16 through the playoffs.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that's the simplest way to put it is that Travis Kelce a few years ago, up until 2 seasons ago, also cared a lot about, like, obviously everyone wants to win a Super Bowl, but he also cared a lot about yards, records, touchdowns, like being famous enough to date. But now that he's here, the reality is he's older. I mean, he's 34, and he's on the it's obvious, but he's on the precipice of, if you think Michael Strahan had a good like post NFL playing career, and he's about as good as there is. Travis Kelce knows that he just needs 5 good games basically, and to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And if he wins the Super Bowl, and he is Kelce, not just Taylor Swift's boyfriend, but like he's also like he is the only 3-peat Super Bowl champion ever. Like the Chiefs will be the only 3-peat team. That's your log line. That's your tagline for the rest of his life, and that sets him up for an A++ list celebrity. Basically, like the work he's putting in is for January to February. He could literally be one of the 5 or 10 most famous people in the world. That's what's going on in his head. I don't know if that will happen, but that is basically. And so, yeah, it's the ultimate pick in your spots.
Load management.
Yeah,
I believe that.
All right.
No?
No. I was just thinking about the fame thing.
Dude,
Most famous person
if
in
they
the
get
world.
married,
you don't think he's thinking that? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but he's thinking Taylor Swift is the most famous person.
they will have the most famous celebrity baby since.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Who?
No,
Brad and
we gotta
Angelina?
just do
I don't
it.
know.
We have to do an argument on every single show on who's famous, who's more famous, because it's such a like subjective.
It is.
But I guess I just look at it as like
not subjective, but it's hard to like define
hard to
exactly.
gauge.
Yeah.
but
There's
everyone
no like
who,
Nielsen rating.
but there is though. Everyone
also
who watches
Nielsen
football,
ratings are fucking bullshit. So
yeah. Oh, you were a Nielsen tester. You had a
yeah,
box, didn't you?
Yeah. Back in the day, back when they had big like huge TVs that you could attach a box to.
Someone just knocked on your door and asked, and you were too nice to say
Let's
no.
be honest. Or I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't super honest about what we were doing with our TV in terms of like how many people were watching.
Cinemax.
Yeah. Well,
Skinemax.
they can see what you're watching,
Oh.
but you have to like enter in how many people are there. Blah blah blah. There's all this like data entry things, and we definitely didn't do that ever one time. And
like
we
the original
represented
password
like
sharing?
yeah, we represent like a huge group of people in the area that I was in. So it's like I don't know. I don't trust
That is how advertising works.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, that's why I'm always skeptical about fame. Because
That's why. That's why you're always, because of
I don't-
your
I don't trust
Nielsen
your
experience
fame
in
metrics.
1992.
no proof.
All right, next up, DK,
that's
it's famous versus are they good? Russell Wilson, quarterback for Pittsburgh. What a shift for Russell in like 4 days.
Yeah. We went from making fun of him on bingo to everyone saying he's like the best. He's way, way better than Justin Fields. I would say the Russell Wilson thing is he looked a lot better than people expected, but he also was not as good as people made him out to be. If you watched or if you look at like his pass chart, for instance, it's almost all like to the sidelines within 10 yards. There's like a smattering, maybe 5 throws past 10 yards in this game.
And they were
and
all
they're all down the
underthrown deep
sideline.
balls to George Pickens that he made an acrobatic catch to secure.
I
'cause
would
they
say
were
there was
underthrown.
one big time throw, which was to Pat Fryermuth.
Mhm.
That one play. But other than that, it was like he was fine. Like he was fine.
I don't want to be that guy, but I'm willing to throw a lot of cold water on this Russell Wilson like Renaissance tour he's on right now.
Yeah.
I feel like the Jets suck. Honestly, there was like the three biggest plays of the game were all acrobatic catches by George Pickens. Russ was fine. He honestly had a couple really bad throws. And what was one of our memento tattoos to start the season? Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems.
Yeah.
Russ is not as good as he seems right now, I believe. Very famous, though. Very famous.
I think the one big thing that I was actually impressed with in this last game is he only took 1 sack. That's like huge. If they're gonna if the Steelers want to continue doing this and like be successful at it, him only taking 1 sack is like a major piece to this whole thing.
So, I guess, how quickly do you think Russell Wilson goes back to closer to what we thought he was 4 days ago?
I think the second he plays a team that can generate some pressure, which could be the Giants next week, I think you're going to start seeing the cracks very soon.
Do you know Rodgers said today that Jets defense is playing too angry, and they should have more fun. Which, dude, please. I will say, if the Giants lose to Russell Wilson and sitting there doing press conference in his full shoulder pads, I can imagine being angry.
Should I be Russell Wilson for Halloween? Should I sit and do a show in the shoulder pads with the Steelers
That'd be
jersey?
funny, yeah.
Write that down. That's really good. All right, next up here we have DK Kyler Murray, quarterback for the Cardinals.
Kyler Murray's pretty famous.
He's pretty famous.
I've been asking this question a lot to myself this year. I'm like, because I wanted to be in on Kyler for this season. I think it was pumping him up in the offseason as, having the Cardinals be like a big time factor in fantasy football. Like so far, I think Kyler's been statistically okay, or at least in fantasy. Where is he in fantasy? He's like 11th or something like that.
A little disappointing.
Which is a little disappointing considering how much he runs. I think I expected more as a passer, but when I dug into it last night, I think maybe just like my impression of how they played doesn't match up with like what the stats say, because the stats actually say he's been top 12 in a lot of different categories. So PFF grade, he's 9th. QBR, he's 8th, or he was coming into last week, and they ended up winning last night. Passer rating 12th, success rate 11th, EPA per dropback 11th. He has the 4th most big time throws. He's tied for 3rd in turnover worthy throw rate, very low turnover worthy play rate. He has a low sack rate. His pressure to sack rate is very good. Basically, the only real stat that I could find that was like really bad is his off target rate is pretty high. It's 27th in the NFL.
And I would say there's one other glaring one. It's winning games.
Yeah.
When was the last time Kyler won 2 games in a row?
I think
3 years ago.
The problem with Kyler is like we're at the stage where it's like, sure, you're talented. We can see it on the field. Like win a playoff game. Justin Herbert a little bit is in the same camp. It's like
I think absolutely.
You're good. Now do something with it. Okay, cool. You're good. Win a playoff game.
It's ironic they were playing each other last night. It's like you want both of these guys to be better. Like I just want them to be better.
We were talking to Van Lathan while we're here in LA this week, and we gotta have Van Lathan on the show at some point. But we talked to Van for like 15 minutes about Kyler Murray, and I just keep coming back to like, not to be heightist, but there is something to.
So that's when you know you're going to be heightist.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. With all due respect, Kyler's too short.
This is a comedy show.
Was that the real timer? I think
it was.
Oh my god! My god! All right, next.
So wait, anyways, I actually think he's good. I'm landing on like he's famous and good.
He's really good, but Kyler.
But there's caveats.
Kyler is in the category of players who, similar to we always said, Russell Wilson runs the Russell Wilson offense because it's he's too short and he can only do what he's incredible at, but that's all. And in a weird way, similar to Rodgers. And that's actually kind of the theme of this, is that people who are limited to doing what they do best. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's a ceiling on what they do because there's only so many colors of the rainbow that they can paint with. And Kyler can paint with
a really long paintbrush.
A really long paintbrush.
Yeah.
I don't get that joke.
Because he's so short. The easels.
The irony of this discussion is like his interception last night. He like literally tried to do like a jump pass over the offensive line and couldn't do it. And
dude, that's such an ick. That's such an ick.
Like,
oh my god.
Like tried to like flip it over, didn't quite make it.
That's such an ick. I'm sorry.
But he's good.
We disrespected Genius of Love.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, that's the song title and not the band, right?
Tom Tom Club is the band.
Got it.
Next up, Jalen Hurts, quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Another player who is good, but also limited.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts is so weird because I feel like 2 years ago we went to the Super Bowl where they played the Chiefs in Phoenix. And he played one of the best games I've ever seen a quarterback play.
Looked like the future of football.
Genuinely. He had 300 yards, no interceptions, ran for 70 and 3 more touchdowns.
Jeez.
Had a 2-point conversion, and was a holding call away from winning the Super Bowl. I think he's very famous, and I think at the time, I was buying everything Jalen Hurts was selling. All his like BS motivational phrases. You either win or lose. You either win or learn. 10% of life is what happens to you. 90% is how you respond. Like he speaks in these like motivational speak generalities.
It's like the posters.
It's like if Russell Wilson was cool.
Yeah.
Just all cliches.
And now the last 2 seasons, it's turned on me, and like those quotes now just kind of they give me the ick a little bit. It's like, the way I think about it is like if like when an actor wants to do like method, when an actor wants to go method, right? When Daniel Day-Lewis does it, it's cool.
That's sick.
But when we just did The Hereditary on the Rewatchables, and Toni Collette, the lead actress in the movie, was talking about how one of the kids, Alex Wolff, went method the whole movie.
Oh.
He's 18 years old. He introduced himself as Alex finally when they finished shooting to the cast and crew.
Wow.
And she was being polite in the interview, but it was like, this was annoying.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's where I'm at with Jalen Hurts.
He's a method.
He's a method actor, really, and he's not really acting well anymore.
It's really cool when you're winning and you're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then the second you kind of suck. Yeah,
like-
I think Jalen Hurts. So Stephen Ruiz is amazing. He does our quarterback rankings for the Ringer, and he has so much awesome insights to quarterbacks. And we were talking. I forget when he said this, but he just offhandedly, it's just like, Jalen Hurts can't throw on the run. And he said this on Bill's show, and I always knew Jalen Hurts wasn't good at throwing on the run, but Steven's point was he actually literally can't. And I can't unsee it, the lack of hip mobility. Jalen Hurts cannot throw on the run. He's mobile, but he's not a threat. They always land out of bounds. It's crazy.
Also, his style, he can't throw over the middle of the field very well. Like
No.
it's like
The only thing he can hit is that deep shot to A.J. Brown.
right.
And that is the theme, though. It's like Russ, Jaden Daniels doing away, Kyler. There's a lot of these guys who, for whatever reason, but
You're throwing Jaden in there already?
No, Jaden's really good.
Jaden
at
has
it.
actually
Jaden's
been really good over the
Yeah,
middle.
he's
so
good
far,
over. Well,
which is-
but
yeah.
he's 6'4".
Yeah.
He can do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Jalen's short, but that's the difference in Kyler and Jaden. Like Kyler's too short to do the middle field. Jalen's 6'4", which we kind of didn't talk about enough in the pre-draft process. He's 3 inches taller than Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this exceptional skills you have you learn them because you freaking had to, and so I think that's Jalen. It's weird. Weird sitch.
It is. I worry that it's not going to get better.
Mhm.
But significantly famous.
So
right.
very similarly, Trevor Lawrence, quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's a
I don't
good
know
one.
how famous he is.
This is the most impossible question.
He was really famous in college.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
was
yeah.
way more famous in college than he's
Yeah.
been on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, he was like the next Luck.
Mhm.
So it's like, is he more famous than Jalen Hurts? No. Is he?
I think I think you're right.
No.
Lawrence in
You don't think so?
2019.
It's
I don't
like he
know.
wasn't in a Super Bowl like Hurts, but Trevor Lawrence was like, oh, this is the next Peyton Manning. This is the next, guy.
They
Andrew
just
Luck.
Right.
destroyed Alabama in the
Yeah.
national championship, and he was like 19.
Apex Mountain.
Yeah,
Trevor
that
Lawrence.
was his Apex Mountain. If Jalen Hurts had won that Super Bowl against the Chiefs, I think that he would have been a superstar and
Yeah.
had 5 commercials. Lawrence is, the biggest thing they've done is he put his crypto stuff and his signing bonus into crypto. Yikes! And then also they named the stadium
Trevor
Everbank
Bank.
Trevor Bank,
Yeah.
and then they got rocked, and no one even noticed. Which that's pretty brutal. But I don't know. I actually think Trevor is really good, and I think he's had a lot of criticism, and also obviously his stats, his turnovers are crazy.
Do you put him in the same camp as Kyler and Herbert?
Hobbled Herbert.
He's not quite neither. He's not quite either because I think that Kyler, obviously, he doesn't have any of Kyler's improvisational ability, and he does have.
I more mean in terms of talent and expectations and what he's delivered.
I think that Kyler has an absolute improvisational brilliance in the 1%, and Kyler does things no one else is capable of. Trevor has all these physical tools, but the down-to-down consistency, lack of consistency is absolutely maddening. And I'll admit to holding Trevor to frankly, probably a double standard compared to other quarterbacks, and he probably dines out too much on previous expectations, what we thought he would be coming in the draft, and that one playoff win. But I also keep coming back to, I look at, and the one thread they all have, that Herbert, Kyler, and Lawrence, is the organizations they went to suck. Literally, Archie Manning refused to let Eli go to the Chargers because he's like, that place is awful and the ownership's bad. The Jacksonville ownership is awful and just constantly, as Bill Belichick would say, ready, fire, aim. There's no plan in Jacksonville. And the Cardinals, the reason they were last in everything, in 32nd in the NFLP. The Cardinals are the team charging their players, deducting out a paycheck, boxed lunches because if they had to stay late for team meetings. So none of these teams are good organizations, and I think that's the frustration. It's not just being a quarterback. There's a level of the overall scheme, play calling. It's almost like an NBA team that a player has to eventually take over. This is how I want to run the offense. Get the coach fired. Something that there's almost a maturity that you have to end up doing as a quarterback where you take over. Hurts, I think, has asserted himself in Philadelphia of this is what I want to do. I think a lot of what the Eagles do is what Hurts wants to do. I think it's weird, but Lawrence, Kyler kind of did that, but I think Lawrence needs more. There's not as much catering. I don't know. It's really strange.
If you were starting a franchise right now and you had to choose between Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Herbert.
Herbert. I want Herbert.
I would go with Herbert probably.
Herbert, not even close. Because Lawrence is also tall and stuff, but he's got this. They're both 6'6" white dudes.
It's he's tall and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, that's how a lot of girls.
I know, I was gonna say, this is
first
like a
requirement on a
dating
Tinder
thing, yeah.
profile.
Herbert.
How tall is he?
He's tall.
Herbert's processing and then pinpoint accuracy with the arm strength is outrageous, and there's a reason people are obsessed with him. Even though, like, if you could take any guy off a team and kind of like Stafford with the Lions, if you could take a guy off a team and be like, who would win it? Who could win a Super Bowl immediately? To me, it's Herbert.
Herbert and Lawrence are so similar, I think, narratively, and just like we want more from them, and we think they're better than maybe they've shown so far. But like, I think there's still like the ability for these guys to like hit that elite level. But there's still just a lot of people that have doubts.
Like, and I guess the answer to your question, Lawrence on the Lions would be worse than Jared Goff. Herbert on the Lions would throw for 5,000 yards, and I think that's the difference. Herbert would win the MVP, and I think that's kind of how I look at him.
Tom is dead in the corner.
Yeah,
over
sorry.
There.
R.I.P. All right. Next up, we have this is a little different. Sean Payton, coach for the Denver Broncos. So Sean Payton, I think we're breaking the fame metric here. I don't know how famous Sean Payton is.
Among coaches?
He's pretty famous.
He's top 5.
Yeah, he's certainly. I think,
right?
So we're coming off this crazy Thursday Night Football win where the Broncos just destroyed the Saints. Kind of think the Broncos are fraudulent. Not going to lie. I think the Broncos right now are feisty. Everyone's like, frankly, I look at the Broncos and I think that the defense is fantastic. I don't give Sean Payton a ton of credit personally for that. Like, I look at Sean Payton as running his offense, and I look at, like, I always forget. No, the defensive coordinator for the Broncos is Vance Joseph, who actually used to work for Denver and came back, and I think it actually took a lot of humility.
The head coach?
No, it's kind of like,
he was the head coach.
Yeah. That was like wild.
And Vance Joseph came back, and it was really hard for Vance Joseph to come back. But, like, that defense is incredible. That's Vance Joseph's domain. He was a head coach. He doesn't need to be babysat. The offense is what's under Sean Payton's purview. I don't care that they have 4 wins. They beat the Jets when it was pouring rain in MetLife Field, and the Jets missed a kick to win the game. Then they beat the Saints. The Saints were missing 9 starters on offense. I don't care that you beat Spencer Rattler and with 8 all the offensive linemen missing. They beat the Bucs, which is the best win the Broncos have had. But the Bucs defense was missing Vita Vea and Antoine Winfield Jr., who are the best and most important players on that defense. I just look at the Broncos schedule and I'm like, this is all fake. And frankly, Bo Nix is still embarrassing. No one wants to say it out loud because they're winning. Shout out to Mike Sanford, who's doing great stuff covering the Broncos this year. But I really don't believe anything of this. And I actually think Sean Payton, by the end of the season, will not be riding high on the vibes right now with, congrats on your 4 wins. I think it's fake.
Yeah.
He's kind of...
This was kind of my take in the offseason, I feel like.
It's funny, though, with Sean Payton. Every time you kind of think, all right, this is over, you check and you're like, they're 4-3.
I know.
They're going to go like 9-8 this year. He's like bizarro Mike Tomlin.
Nobody believes he'll do it.
He's like Mike Tomlin derogatory.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin.
Right. The joke over the offseason was like, what's your favorite Sean Payton move so far? And it's like, I'm just like looking at what they've done with the offense. It doesn't like feel like there's there's much of a plan. Like they've been, rotating their running backs like every week. It's like a different guy gets in. They've been doing the same thing with their receivers. It's hard to see like what the plan is. He handpicked Bo Nix. He talked about how he's like his version of Patrick Mahomes.
Well, less picks than Patrick Mahomes, so
that's true.
They're gonna beat the Panthers by 30 next week. Everyone's gonna be like Broncos 5-3, and then they play Ravens, Chiefs, Falcons, Raiders, Browns, and they're gonna get rocked by those teams. But they have an easy schedule.
I think so. For these next 3, we should add the caveat of like, look, most players who are famous are good. They're famous for a reason.
Yeah.
We're stretching a little bit here. These are the more fun kind of guys we can bicker about. Mm-hmm. But I would not say these 3 guys are on the same level as Travis Kelce and Russell Wilson.
Right.
Okay. So next up, we have Najee Harris, running back for the Steelers. Which, to your point, Craig, this is more just famous among
his
NFL
fame
players.
Outweighs his skill.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say.
But he also had a great game on Sunday.
He's had 2 great games. It kind of sucks that he's actually been revived a little bit.
It kind of sucks. Here's the good from Najee Harris. 478 rushing yards this year, which is 8th most.
Yeah.
He's got a really solid rushing grade from PFF. He's 19th in the NFL. He has 7 rushes of 15 yards, which is actually pretty surprising. That's tied for 3rd most in the NFL. He's broken 30 tackles, which is 3rd most.
Yeah.
A lot of that is like volume based though.
Definitely.
Like they're running him a lot. If you look at his yards after contact per rush, 38th out of 52 backs, 30.7% success rate, which is 52nd out of 66 backs. He has 16% of his rushes are 0 or negative yards. So he gets stuffed 16% of the time, which is 30th in the NFL. His percentage of rushes of 5+ yards is 52nd in the NFL. He's a plotter. And so it's like hard to
Like
so
with D's for derogatory, not T. Like, oh, he's scheming.
He's
like
plotting.
plotting. Yeah.
Yeah.
he's that's his style, but like also he gives them an identity in terms of like physicality. I don't think if you gave Jalen Warren all these carries, he would be as good. He's kind of like a Tony Pollard type of guy.
Yeah, I also just think like he was a first-round running back who went to Alabama, who was really good in college. And to be honest, he seems like a great guy. He's got a great personality. I think it was just like nice to have him on the Steelers because every other player in the Steelers is like kind of a crazy person. So like it was kind of refreshing to have like Najee Harris just
You
like
wanted to like him more
being
than,
a good guy. But yeah, you know those rushes where Derrick Henry gets the ball, gets hit like 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage and looks like the worst running back in the league.
yeah, tips over.
Yeah, like that happens to Derrick Henry 10% of the time. It happens to Najee Harris like 50% of the time.
Yeah, like it looks like they're bringing a statue down and it's square. Like, it's just,
So good. Oh my god. Yeah. And that also
The
like
Saddam thing.
yeah. And because Najee's like a tall guy, it's just like Derrick Henry. Like it can look really bad aesthetically. It's sad. I like Najee Harris. I want him to be good. He's not going to be in the Steelers next year. I don't think.
More famous than good.
More famous than good, I think.
next up here, we have Kyle Pitts, the tight end for the Atlanta Falcons.
Who's back? But yeah.
Kyle, I was going to say, talk about of all the people.
We're so back.
Kyle Pitts has, I mean, just this past week, he had 7 catches, 65 yards. A few weeks ago, he had 7 catches, 88 yards, although we were mad about that because Kirk Cousins had like 500 plus, and he still had only 7 catches, 88 yards. I still don't know what to make of Pitts. I feel like, again, when, I keep thinking about Kyle Pitts in terms of Brock Bowers, where we undersold Bowers because what are we going to say? Best tight end prospect since Kyle Pitts, who kind of sucks. Like, we didn't even know how to talk about it. And I think I still look at Pitts as like, the idea was, oh, he's big enough to block and fast enough to be a receiver, but he hasn't been blocking as well. So he just is like a big, slow receiver. Can I be totally honest?
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
I still have no idea if Kyle Pitts is good or
I
bad.
thought he was going to ask me to pee in a cup for him.
Oh, yeah. I think I still look at Kyle Pitts. I still feel like there's a piece of this puzzle that I'm missing when I watch this Falcons offense. I still, when I watch Kyle Pitts, I still see a player who is explosive, who can get open.
Really? I don't know if I do.
I just think
Moreover, the last two, this is where we're being a little bit prisoners of the moment because I think over the last 2 weeks he's looked pretty good.
I don't know.
But 2 different coaching staffs came in and said we don't really need him on the field a third of the plays.
Sometimes he gets schemed up where he's like wide open 40 yards down the field. But I still think when I watch him, and we'll get to the next guy, but I see nothing physically extraordinary about him.
Yeah. It's not what he was supposed to be for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And he had the MCL. Sometimes we don't call a spade, where it's just like a player. Like, since the MCL injury, he hasn't been quite as an explosive a player.
Right.
It's kind of like Carson Wentz. We all make fun of him. He tore his ACL. He was never the same athletically.
Like, to be
he
honest,
never played the same athletically. We never just say that sometimes.
When I watch like Evan Ingram run a route, I'm like, that guy looks more explosive than Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. And like when you watch Bowers, especially when you compare it to Bowers, like Bowers moves differently.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like you can tell it's him. Like even if you're just sort of glancing at the screen, you can see that, oh yeah, that guy moves different. He is more explosive and more twitchy than the guys trying to guard him. And I think with Kyle Pitts, it's like, oh, he got open, but maybe that was just like a zone defense and he just kind of snuck into he's not like winning one-on-one like you kind of expected him to.
I will once again say, I want to write him off. I just keep coming back to still younger than Dalton Kincaid, who was a first-round pick like last year. I mean, like Kyle Pitts is younger than 3 people taken in the first round.
Who's better, Dalton
this
Kincaid
year.
or Pitts?
Pitts. Kincaid?
I think so too.
Pitts is younger than 3 people taken in this year's first round.
We haven't talked about Kincaid a lot this year.
He's not been great.
It's just the role he has is just, frankly, I feel like not conducive to the offense they want to run now.
I wonder if the presence of Amari will help Kincaid because I don't think Kincaid is a number 1. Kincaid's not going to be who I think I hoped he would be.
He's not going to date.
He's not going to be
Taylor
Travis
Swift.
Kelce-esque.
Yeah. Well, Kincaid could be one of the 10 most famous people in the world. One day.
More famous than Mahomes?
Dalton Kincaid?
Probably.
Yeah.
Do you really think Kelsey's not more famous than Mahomes?
I don't
We're almost
I
on
don't have
power
a
hour. We're so
strong
close.
I don't have like a
Sorry.
strong opinion on it, but the how certain you are that Patrick Mahomes, who is the best player, the best quarterback in the NFL, some consider the best quarterback maybe ever.
I just think there's people who've never watched a football game who know who Travis Kelce is.
I would say the exact same thing about Mahomes.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, like they've heard of Patrick Mahomes. He's so famous.
I don't know. I don't know.
but famous in what? Like Travis Kelce
He
has
has
more
a very,
commercials
he's
than
the
Mahomes.
best quarterback on the back-to-back Super Bowl winning team. People have heard of him.
Travis Kelce's
He's a household name.
Travis Kelce's so famous that his brother has 3 different commercials for like Amazon, which is a $2 trillion company, Google, which is a $2 trillion company. His brother has 2 of those.
I mean, like, he's going to have America's version of a royal wedding.
I'm
with
not
Taylor
saying
Swift.
that Kelsey's not famous, for the record. But I'm just saying, like, I think people who don't even know anything about the NFL know who Mahomes is.
I think more people that don't know anything
Maybe
about
that's
the
true.
NFL know
Maybe
Travis
that's
Kelce.
true. Maybe that's true. I don't know.
Okay.
His
What-
confidence is annoying.
He's dating Taylor Swift.
His confidence is annoying. That's all. That's all I'm
He
saying.
just hates me. If I had said the other
Pretty
thing, he'd be
much.
glee.
Yeah, yeah.
If I had said
like
Mahomes
if
is more
Craig
famous
was
than
just like,
Kelce-
I don't know, and I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe. But Heifetz is like
He dives into the deep end.
badgering me. He's so confident it makes me furious.
Well, he's got the mind of a quarterback. That's how you got to go through life. you
Yeah.
know?
See, here's the thing. I've never been the bigger person.
That's-
That's Breece Hall, running back for the New York Jets, is the next one of just fame. I don't know. He's
Look,
not that famous.
Let
but
me cook here. Let me cook.
Yeah, please.
Look, I know he's not that famous, but for Christ's sake, Breece Hall was like the #1 pick in fantasy this year, pretty much.
One of the top 3.
If you didn't take McCaffrey,
Yeah.
you were probably taking Breece Hall, right? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I feel like I'm the only person peddling this Breece Hall conspiracy,
You-
and I try to proselytize DK, and it doesn't work.
No,
It's starting to work.
You started to like win me over on this.
I don't know what Breece Hall does exceptionally well. I know he has good hands. I would say if I had to pick something, I'd be like, he's got good hands. I don't think maybe he's hurt this year. I don't know. He doesn't look explosive. He doesn't
think
look
you have
fast.
to separate. You have to separate it into this year because I think last year he looked awesome.
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But as somebody I drafted him this year, I spent
There's something.
$55.
There's
I'm like,
something up with him this year.
he is not. He does not look like a Derrick Henry, McCaffrey, Saquon, Bijan. To me, he does not separate himself like those guys do. He does not have anything physically exceptional about him. He looks like a good, solid running back.
Yeah,
He looks fine.
Craig like broached this, and I think this is like one of the very few times where I was like I scoffed at him almost because he was like
Condescension.
Breece, no juice,
No juice.
and then like literally maybe like 10 minutes later, Breece. This was I think a few weeks ago on it might have been the nationally televised game. I can't remember.
It was.
He got a pass or a run on the edge, and he kind of like had a chance to score, and the defenders caught up with him, and I was like, oh. Craig, I think you're right. Actually,
Every now and then,
something is like,
yeah.
whoa, this is like there's something up.
Every
with
now and then, you get as frustrated with Craig as you do with me, and I'm always like, whoa. And the Breece Hall thing
Heifetz
was
is like, okay, we're ready. Let's strap in.
I'm just like sometimes I'm like I don't know. This guy just looks like Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Breece Hall has had Breece Hall and Derrick Henry have actually both had these like long runs that get tackled at the 5, and like you don't-
Derrick Henry weighs 240 pounds, so it's okay. Like
Right.
I think, but we had talked about it earlier, where basically because of what Rodgers wants to do, the run game gets simplified in a lot of ways, and so Braylon Allen's actually probably a better scheme fit. Like
but I'm not even saying that. Like I'm saying even when Breece Hall has like open room to run,
He keeps getting caught.
he doesn't look that. He looks
Yeah.
average.
It's
to
kind
me.
of you've actually sort of like won me over on this argument. I think there's something going on.
probably just not healthy. Like that, you know.
Yeah.
That
It's
might be
probably
it.
just not healthy.
Because he's actually he recovered in fantasy. He's actually been decent. He's had 2
Right.
good games in a row. They're giving him a lot of carries now. Olbrich has seemed to commit to him much more than
yeah,
Braylon Allen.
they
now.
basically took Braylon Allen.
Yeah,
out of
and
the
like
picture.
there are
Yeah.
running lanes for him now. They throw to him a lot. I'm not saying he's a bad fantasy player. I'm just like when I watch him, I'm like
He doesn't look shot out of a cannon anymore.
it doesn't move
Right.
for Breece.
Yeah.
Right.
You know
What?
what? Who said that?
Come again?
No
Is that-
proof.
Is that
No
In
proof.
this case, we do actually have proof because it's on record and it's live.
It's a comedy show though.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a comedy show. I didn't even know that about McAfee. They have a
they have the like,
lower
and they
third now.
spell it like different Pittsburgh with the Don, like DAHN, and they're like, hey, this is a comedy show, and they have like intentional spelling errors in
Yeah.
the ticker, and yeah, it's just, yeah, it's
that's
yeah.
that's
It's like this is definitely this is a legally defensible disclaimer.
Yes.
Yes.
They
this-
literally added
this
misspellings.
absolves us of all responsibility.
ha ha ha. Funny.
All right, time for us to get serious. This is America's favorite segment right
Oh,
here.
boy.
It's fantasy court time.
Definitely don't tell anyone about this thing that you're doing.
I don't really want to be handcuffed.
The definition of an object is a material thing that can be seen and touched. Look,
Craig's got like his readers on. He's like reading the dictionary.
we needed to know if a cloud
Was an
qualified as an
object.
object.
Craig's in court defending his friend for whatever piss test they lied for, and he's just like, look, the definition of an object is something that you can see and touch.
Judge is like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
To be honest, I did nothing wrong because the person testing my friend was his parents, so there was no.
Oh.
There was no. It's nothing illegal.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fine. There was no like job he was trying to get or company. Yeah. So.
Got it. That makes it funnier.
Yeah.
That's actually way better. It's an even better story.
Yeah.
All right. So fantasy
Are
court.
his parents gonna be like, "What the hell, Craig?"
If they're listening, I'll take that loss.
Yeah. Okay.
So 5-hour energy. That's a small opening.
I think he want. Yeah, it is. Sorry, I thought you were like that's a small bottle. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I got pretty accurate.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I missed that
it
detail.
was messy at first.
Yeah,
I was gonna say. I have questions I don't want the answers to.
Ask him.
You use a
I'm
funnel?
an open book. No funnel. Who cares? What do I?
Fucking
Who cares?
sniper.
But he
over
must
here.
have got it covered. And
He's Barry Pepper over
I would
here
go into a
from-
bathroom and do it over the toilet.
yeah.
What else? What else would one do?
So where did you
Yeah.
keep? How did you get it to his house? Or were you at his house? Did you give it to him?
No,
Leave
it'd be
it
like
there?
we're hanging out, and he'd bring an empty 5-hour energy, and he'd be like, "Hey, do you mind?" And I'd be like, "No."
Yeah.
If you get like pee on the toilet seat from now on, like Liz is gonna be like, "What the hell?" I thought you could like hit.
She probably already is. Oh, like accuracy.
Oh right, she knows I'm a sharpshooter.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
now you have a really high standard to meet.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't listen to the show. It's fine.
That's true.
All right. This is our fantasy court. This is from Garrett.
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 Gare.
Gare Bear.
Gare Bear.
We have a Monday Night Football debacle.
Oh boy.
Let me start by saying I'm the commissioner of this league. It's a home league. Started in the early 2000s when PPR was not a thing. Quarterback touchdown throws were worth 6 points. First round picks were always just Brady, Manning, Breeze. Platform was Fox Sports. A lot going on. We've evolved. We now use ESPN. We're full PPR. Most of us in the league aren't even close anymore. But the fantasy league, the dedication is
It's all
stronger than
business.
ever. Just exactly. Briefcases. So Garrett says, scenarios. I have Kyler Murray and Cardinals defense Monday night, last game of the week. I lost by 1.5 points. But on Monday Night Football, the fifth play of the game had that 320-pound defensive tackle intercept the tipped pass from Kyler Murray. During the return of the interception, James Conner, the Cardinals running back, stripped the ball from the defensive tackle, and then Michael Wilson, the Cardinals, recovers the ball. Cardinals defense never took the field. Offense just backed up 30 yards.
Was it
restarted
an
the drive.
interception? Is that the question?
No. But just so you know, like when there's an interception, for NFL statistical scorekeeping purposes, the defense is now the offense. That's how it works. Like
So
offense
the defense got credited with a fumble.
well, that's what. So
Oh,
it used to happen that way. Like it used to just be like so. In that situation,
James Conner becomes a defensive player.
Yeah.
They got
Yes.
credited with a fumble recovery.
that would happen.
Oh.
So, but it also was messed up where
Oh,
pick sixes
interesting.
would count against points scored. So that would also get people. Like
Right,
back in the
right,
day,
right,
it was really annoying because you give a pick six, somehow it's like defense scored.
Which-
Like the
yeah.
defense didn't allow that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. But you're like, well, the offense was the defenders, but obviously that doesn't make any sense. So Kyler Murray was deducted 2 points for throwing the pick. The Cardinals defense was not awarded 2 points for forcing a turnover. Garrett thinks there's something wrong with that logic. I don't know if I want to do it just because I'm the owner of Kyler and the Cardinals defense, and I lost by less than 2 points. I haven't brought it up. What do you guys think? Should I bring this up and let the V? Basically, should the Cardinals defense get points for Connor knocking the ball out?
On the NFL record books, they do. Is that right?
I believe so. I'll actually check right now. I'll check the official one.
I don't know. It kind of feels like a stupid technicality
Yeah.
where I'm like, yeah, but they didn't.
I mean, I feel it's like this is in a similar vein as like the, how we were talking about the hook and ladder statistical anomalies the other day, where it was like, I forget who it was. Amon-Ra St. Brown got
He catches it and then flips it.
right. And so I think it was Gibbs got the yardage and Amon-Ra St. Brown got nothing, or did he get a catch? I can't remember how it went.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's like some sort of like rare, weird statistical anomaly. Ultimately, I'm just like, whatever the stats say should be the
But
ruling.
You mean whatever the official NFL stats
right,
say?
Right.
But by that logic, you're saying James Conner should get points for forcing a fumble, which isn't a thing. You're saying following that logic though.
Yeah, but James Conner, no,
No. Well,
individual defensive players don't get any.
because
It's like a
you
team
don't
They
defense.
should,
because
though.
you don't have offensive James Conner in this scenario. This is defensive James Conner, who's like a different player in this example.
Like Otani,
Yeah.
I guess I look at it like if you want to go with that, then
Especially since it's James Conner, I'm like he's just
Such a
like
baller.
he's just the man.
Yeah.
But I feel
Yeah.
like it's no one thinks that if Kyler throws a pick six, that should count against the Cardinals defense for points allowed. That would be silly.
But it doesn't on the NFL.
Yeah, so I think to be consistent, then you have to be like the fumble recovery also doesn't count for the defense because they didn't do it. Like you have to be consistent. It's either
But aren't you not being consistent? Because officially the NFL does not rule a pick six as the defense's fault.
no, they do. Well, it depends who you count. In the scorebook, the scorebook doesn't care. The scorebook doesn't care about fantasy. It's a tweak they made.
I don't know.
I think they should just go with the official statistic of the NFL.
So you
You think if Kyler throws a pick six, it should count against the Cardinals defense for points allowed?
No.
What are you talking about? I'm talking
That's
about
also the official scorebook thing.
That's what I'm saying.
what?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
That's how it was, but like even till like 10 years ago. on
But it's not
defense-
now.
No, but the platforms changed it. The NFL didn't change it. The platforms
oh.
stopped scoring it that way because it's dumb. I think this is obvious. I think that you should not get
shouldn't
the
get
points for anything that happens when the offense is not in the field because that's not the players you picked up. When you pick up a defense, you're trying to pick up the defensive and special teams players.
I agree.
Otherwise, you're trying to double dip.
All right.
You disagree?
No, I don't really. I don't. It's such a unique, sort of weird statistical anomaly. I'm like, I'm fine with that. I think that does make sense. I mean, ultimately,
It's getting really cute.
it's in the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
My first inclination was to just let it play, but I don't have like a strong dissent that you're right. It's like the offense. The defense actually was never even on the field.
No.
But I don't know. Yeah. It's like I could talk myself into it's like a team sport.
So it's like so James Conner punches the ball out and he's on defense in that moment. But then if the Cardinals recovered the ball on that same play, then James Conner switches to being on offense. He would switch back to being on offense.
Yeah, well, the team that has possession of the ball is the offense.
In the moment.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's
Stupid.
just like you're like
That's so stupid. The defense should have the ball if it's a pick six.
Yeah,
That's how it should be.
Football's kind of a dumb sport.
what are we
That's,
doing?
they have 60-year-old men spot the ball based on vibes.
Garrett, I respect what you're doing. I respect your game. I see you, but I don't think I'm there.
Yeah.
It's close. I respect it. But no.
All right, we're throwing out the case. Sorry, Garrett.
Okay.
All right, you want one little wacky email here?
sure.
Is that the only fantasy court?
Yeah, it's the only fantasy court for today. It's a light docket, you know.
Thank you, Garrett.
Yeah, thank you, Garrett.
We can go golfing.
You hate golfing.
You're right. I don't know. I was just thinking, what do you think a judge does when he gets
Oh yeah, he
off
golfs.
work?
Golf.
You know they did a study that judges give way harsher sentences before lunch than after lunch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, hangry.
Yeah, the
Dude.
hangry judges like
That's fucked
the,
up.
the harshest sentences were giving at like 11 a.m. or 11:30 a.m. Not crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's actually fascinating.
yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
So I guess like if you wanted to meet with your boss to talk about something serious,
2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Yeah.
Bring them a sweet.
Yep.
right after their second coffee.
Don't meet right before
Like,
lunch.
what's your blood sugar like right now?
Yeah, definitely not before lunch.
Yeah, don't meet. Don't meet.
Honestly,
yeah.
like maybe like first thing, maybe it's just like always tailored around when did they have coffee?
Mm-hmm.
Right after their first coffee or right after their second coffee?
That's also good.
Yeah.
But
Also-
if you just had a coffee, sometimes you have to take a shit, and then you're like in a rush and you can't concentrate, and you're like, I don't want to be here. I don't
But
want.
good. Maybe they'll just say yes to whatever
Yeah.
you ask. 'Cause they
Yeah,
gotta
well,
go.
fine. You'll get a
double-edged
raise.
sword.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Just
That's interesting. Thank you, Craig.
we should use
What?
We should use AI to recreate that Mad Men scene where he asks for a raise, but instead of whiskey, they're drinking coffee, and the guy just says, "Yeah, take whatever you want." Just runs out. All right, this email is from Abby.
Abby.
So if you remember, Abby sent us the trivia question on Monday about the pole sitting because of the previous Friday with Shipwreck Kelly,
Right.
Sat for how long?
the Brooklyn Dodgers quarterback.
Over a year, Craig.
No, not
Yeah.
Shipwreck.
Shipwreck sat.
It was
Shipwreck.
that guy H something.
H.
whatever.
David Werder
Sat for 400.
right.
sat. So and then we were like, he sat. We guessed he'd sat for a few weeks. H. David Werder sat for like 15 months.
Craig guessed 2 days.
Yeah, Craig
I
guessed 2
did.
days.
I did. Look, I got it wrong.
To which we basically were like, "There's no possible way that that's right. That he was on top
Craig's
of
owning it.
a 45-foot
miss.
pole." So then we basically were like, "I don't know about Abby's fact checking." Abby responded. Literally, subject line was defending my reputation.
You sure?
Okay.
Abby responds.
What's this guy's name again? H. David.
H. David Werder,
H. David Werder.
and she emailed us to say Werder stayed on the pole the entire time. He had food sent up to him, including through a 23-year-old named Ben Towers, who became the ground man.
The worst job in the world.
The
Worst job in the
ground
world.
man.
Worst job in the world. Worst job in the world. Ben Towers.
what?
And H. David Werder
A
used
ground man.
a
Like, there's a
5-gallon.
name for this.
I know 5-gallon pickle bucket for a toilet, which was
Jeez.
sent down to be
pickle- a
emptied by the
pickle
ground
bucket.
man.
So he would lower a bucket.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to know what a pickle bucket looks like?
Separate bucket
Well, I
than
think
the
it's-
food bucket.
No, like James Naismith, like a peach basket.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a
don't-
bucket.
I don't know
What
what
do you-
peach
does it
basket
really matter? It's you
I'm
know
just-
what a bucket looks like.
Is
Most
that-
buckets
yeah.
look the same.
No, it's-
They do a basic job.
yeah, and he they sent up clean piss. He took the test, and then yeah.
Yeah.
So
Don't get mad at me for wondering what a pickle bucket looks like.
Bucket for pickles.
Okay. Continue.
of all the things I thought might trip you guys up,
thought
that was not the part.
Pickle bucket. Pause. Okay, so he would send down a
So
piss
he-
bucket,
he-
and he had a separate food
So
bucket.
H. David Werder rigged the pole with a hose for
I
water, but
You hope.
apparently he only took 20 showers in like the 16 months he was up there.
Wait. How did so they would bring him up a hose? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, a hose.
Some-
And then
some good water pressure.
What's the actual technical way that he would shit?
Into a bucket.
You stand
into
up.
the bucket.
Probably squat, like
Yeah.
catcher style.
Oh,
I think
okay.
there's like one option in that. Yeah. The
Wait, what do we? What are you imagining?
Yeah. Never mind.
say it.
No, there's just like there's a really old meme. I don't even know what the context is, and it shows a guy like pooping, where he's got his hands on each side of the wall, like he's got his hand on the wall and his feet on the wall, and he's like pooping up.
And that's
And I'm like, that's what I'm picturing.
And
Can we get maybe we could get
for
that
H.
put
David,
into-
who's surrounded by no walls.
Well, I'm just saying you got to get creative. Maybe it's not what you assume. Don't always assume the obvious, Craig.
I suppose.
We
Well,
can put a picture up.
Can we follow
for
up with
that,
Abby
maybe.
on how he? How
Yeah,
he would
Abby, get on
defecate
that,
in the
Abby.
That
bucket?
might not even actually
Defend
be
your
a picture.
reputation,
Yeah.
Abby.
Okay, keep
Uh,
going.
So H. David Werder was not just protesting gas prices, which he said it was gas prices. So I'm like, I don't think they're gonna lower gas prices because you climbed a pole, but he says he also apparently he wanted a Guinness World Record, so he was pretending. He said he vowed to stay up until the price of gasoline went down to 50 cents a gallon, until there was peace in the Middle East, until the federal government raised the speed limit to 65 miles an hour.
Okay,
so
so this
all
guy-
this
hell?
guy just wanted a Guinness World Record. That was
Until they
yeah.
raised the speed limit.
and until Tampa got the Super Bowl in 1984.
All right.
And so that happened.
We're out on this guy.
Yeah, so there's a whole profile on him Abby sent, and this magazine profile, and then so H. David Werder was eventually brought down by the police, who also had an eviction notice. But
It's the stinky guy shitting up there.
and he had to
Imagine
defend his
watching him shower.
this profile says he had to defend his perch vigorously. 5 months into his sit, a man who had been drunk tried to climb the pole, and Werder was indignant and started pounding the guy's hands with a hammer. And the man
He
went
had
to
a
jail.
hammer?
Yeah, yeah.
What's he doing with that?
Where's he keep it?
How much room would he have there?
It's like the show Alone. You get like 12 items. I'm gonna bring a hammer because I'm gonna definitely need
That's
a
his
hammer.
Desert
up here.
Island thing. I'm gonna bring Gone with the Wind and a hammer.
So later that month, two Connecticut men left a bar and went to the pole to coax Werder down. They promised drugs and beer. Werder refused, and an argument began, and one of the men began to unscrew the bolts that held the pole in the ground. And Werder
Jeez.
warned him, and he threw bottles, and he threw a 2x4 board.
He had a 2x4.
Yeah, where do you get bottles
How
in
many
a
bottles did he have?
I don't know if I have an
He's
accurate.
got a one-bedroom apartment up there.
I don't think I have an accurate picture of what he was sitting on.
They woke David up as he was sleeping in his bed on top of the pole.
Oh my god.
He came out of his office.
So he says he threw the 2x4, he threw the bottles, and he says, but the guy climbing still kept at it, Werder said. This is a quote. So Werder flew his lucky horseshoe
Come on.
This guy had a tool belt.
and caught the man above the eyebrow.
Oh, wow.
And says if the guy had cut out one more nut, unscrewed one more nut, though, he probably would have killed me.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good windy night and a ton and a half of the pole standing up, so he probably would have died. Both men went to the hospital. The next day, Ben Towers, the ground guy, sealed the bolts
The
in
ground man.
concrete. Ground man.
Yeah, yeah.
Sealed the bolts in concrete the next day. And so the best part, Abby says, I did steer you wrong, because Werder is not the actual record holder anymore. The technical record is 516 days because a woman broke it 3 months after he did it, and he didn't even get to announce the record because someone broke it in the same year, so he never even really told.
There was concurrent
yeah,
sitters,
Yeah.
pole sitters.
and she broke the record. So
What's
he
her
did.
story?
I don't know. Abby didn't say.
How'd
I
she
gotta-
shit?
the hands
Wow.
up. Yeah.
So we don't know anything about her, but she said
No, we got to. So she has the
Does
record.
this change the trivia answers or the trivia
No.
winners?
It was longer than
No,
18
yeah.
months.
Mm.
So the pole sitter record is she ended up winning.
Wow.
She sat.
What were her reasons for
Gadsden woman set flagpole record in 1964. Oh, she just passed away in 2014. Oh, that was a long time ago, 2014. Peggy Townsend Clark of Gadsden
Gadsden?
began it on December 12th, 1963, and then ended 1964. And she had a 6 foot by 7 foot platform.
Oh,
in the
come
air
on.
in Glencoe.
We're really moving the goalposts.
6
on
by
this.
7?
Yeah.
This is like someone
can
who ties
fully lay
themselves.
down.
This is like someone who like chains himself to a tree.
Yeah. She could fully lay down up there. She could have a lazy boy up there.
Could have a hammer.
I feel like all these guys had platforms now that we're being honest, though. Crow's Nest.
I really don't think I have an accurate picture of what's happening in any
Well,
of these
so
sitting
and all that. So
situations.
Shipwreck.
Did she build the 6x7 platform?
Probably.
Okay.
So I want to get back to the reason we got on this, which was all from Shipwreck Kelly, the
Right.
quarterback of the 1934 Brooklyn Dodgers.
Who was named that because he was a pole sitter.
And so they called him Shipwreck Kelly because of the other guy, Shipwreck, who was the pole sitter.
So was Shipwreck Kelly an actual pole sitter or
Yes,
not?
he was.
Yes,
quarterback.
And so coming back
He-
all
they
the
were
way,
Pole sitters?
and so we
Yeah.
so we can put this button on this whole ridiculous thing. James emailed us,
Jimmy.
dude. The Wire. Jimmy told me that. Jimmy,
Never
Jimmy.
seen it,
Dude, the Wire.
unfortunately.
Dude, the Wire when Bunk's drunk. He's like, Jimmy,
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Do you remember that
Are you not
specifically?
gonna do it with me?
No, I'm not going to do it with you.
Do you remember that?
Left me out to try.
Not specifically. I'm rewatching season 3 right now.
It's so good,
Heifetz's TV recall is unparalleled.
dude. I love the Wire. I love the Wire.
You love all the shows that you remember, like Game of Thrones, Peaky Blinders.
Dude, the Wire has some unbelievable insults too.
Name 10.
Cottage cheese, chest ass, motherfucker.
Name
Anyway.
10.
They're pretty good. All right. James emails in at the literal height of Kelly's career in 1930. Shipwreck Kelly, quarterback and future owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers. This is the guy who became a spy in World War II and then killing Nazis and then became an investment banker. But while he's a quarterback for the NFL, Shipwreck Kelly set a world record by sitting atop a 225-foot tall flagpole
Wow.
in Atlantic
Jesus.
City for 49 days and 1 hour.
God, everybody was doing it.
What the hell?
What were they doing back then?
It's the original raw dogging.
So yeah,
And he
you're
was
sitting
raw
up there.
dogging. Yeah, just thinking.
Shipwreck Kelly said to keep
Thinking.
himself from falling asleep, he would tie his ankles to the pole and was frequently pictured in the press hundreds of feet in the air, brushing his teeth and shaving his face. His preferred form of nourishment was coffee and cigarettes,
Stud.
which were
Dude.
hoisted up the pole by
Built
assistants.
diff.
Built diff.
Built diff.
Just on a pole for 49 days, ripping darts, just drinking coffee.
And why
just
did he
lung
do it?
darts.
No idea.
Okay.
And James
Because there's nothing else to do, Craig.
presciently said, to answer your burning question, to use the bathroom, Shipwreck Kelly turned away from the crowd and used a small tube that ran to the ground into a hole.
A 200-foot tube
Wait. 200-foot tube for what?
for shitting.
Yeah.
For shitting.
Well, no, I think it was. Well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. No, I don't know. Probably had a pickle bucket
Why was it a problem that he fell asleep?
because he would fall off and die.
So he was awake for 49 days?
That's what I was wondering too. Did
None
he have
of
a
this
plaque?
makes any sense to me.
Why were they?
I
doing-
don't-
Do you? I
feel like I'm
actually-
getting
I feel
pumped.
like if you're gonna pulse
Yeah.
it for months, you got to figure out
No.
the sleep piece.
I think
You know what
DK nailed it. I feel like I'm getting punked, and I think that this goes into like all the stuff on the internet with AI and everything, and now you can deep fake anything.
No proof.
And it's like kids are
No
gonna,
proof.
you know, how, like the TikTok trend is kids don't believe Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points because there's no video of it, and they just have the picture, and they're like,
There's
they made that
actually
up.
conspiracy theories.
There's
that he
conspiracy
didn't- yeah.
theories, and it feels like like a canary in the coal mine for like a generation being like, no proof. I read this
The
and I'm
media's
like,
lying.
I read this and I'm kind of like, this feels like I can't imagine telling my kids that they're like, yeah, this happened, and they're like, how do you know, idiot?
I think after this whole thing, we're gonna find out they just came down from the pole every night,
Yeah, that would, yeah.
and it's gonna be like, what?
And then I would win the trivia.
Craig, 2
12
days.
hours.
2 days was way
I
way
think
more
this
accurate.
literally all came from me being like, I don't know how you sleep or go to the bathroom up there. I'm taking a day and a half.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
None of this.
The
makes any
longest
sense.
documented time a human being has gone without sleep is 264 hours, or just over 11 days.
That's zero sleep though. That's in the controlled studies. They're nodding off.
But he's nodding off on top of a pole.
I think the ankles is so he doesn't fall.
Well, what do you mean? How is he? Is he hanging upside down from his ankles like a bat? What do you mean? If he's standing on a pole and he nods off, wouldn't he fall off the pole?
Right. Yes. This is the question I'm asking. There's no way.
That weak mentality is why you never were a fucking spy in World War II, and you didn't kill down any Nazis or become an investment banker.
That's honestly probably right. Shipwreck Kelly learned to sleep with his eyes open.
Do you think he's real?
No.
6 degrees of separation. If anyone can get us in touch with
Wow.
Shipwreck Kelly's grandchildren
I mean,
or
to be honest,
ancestors,
DK's last name is Kelly. My wife's name is Kelly. Maybe we can get there.
can you guys imagine if you had any relation? This would be like it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Charlie Kelly finds his like dad in Ireland, his real dad.
Yeah.
Uh,
You never know, DK.
I know, honestly.
That would
Yeah.
be the greatest if we 23andMe sponsored
How
this.
many
and, like,
Kellys are there in the world? You know?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
probably like, I don't
Couple
know,
million?
20. Craig, I'm reading about Shipwreck Kelly and sleep. It's like basically saying he would not sleep at night, but he would take a bunch of 5-minute naps throughout the pole sitting.
But how? Yeah,
I just don't.
back to Craig's. Well, how does a 5-minute nap work? Did he have a platform or not? Did he
like
have a
s-
platform?
They would basically he would
He would like sit down.
he would
Is
like
there a
sit and like
photo?
like cross-legged.
Yeah, sit down cross-legged, strap his
Oh.
ass and legs to like the pole, and that way if he kind of just like nodded off like he's on an airplane.
Oh, that could make sense actually. Where that could make sense
Yeah.
because you're sleeping, and if you fall, then you wake up and you're okay.
This is all predicated on how big the platform is. I'm imagining he's on top of a pole, not on top of a.
I think there's like a
Because
little
that is
seat.
what they called it. They
Correct.
called it pole
the
sitting, not
woman's-
platform
the
sitting.
woman's sitting on a raft up there. It's not pole sitting.
Don't diminish
Like
her
a tiny
accomplishments.
I am.
A
It's not
tiny
pole
house up
sitting.
there.
Don't diminish her accomplishments. She was breaking new ground.
It's not. No, she wasn't. She was building new ground on top of the pole.
free real estate. Oh my god. I literally just Googled, did flagpole sitters sleep up there? This is where
there.
we've gotten in this discussion. Did they sleep up there?
This entire activity is fraudulent.
Are we gonna put this in the show?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
It's live.
The people,
Oh, yeah. Hey, everyone. Yeah.
the people need to know that all these people are liars.
No proof.
Should I ask people to email us, or do we end this?
I want to know who's pole sitting right now.
Yeah, email
Is
us at
anyone
Fantasy
still
Football
doing
Gmail for current
What's-
poll sitters, and also if anyone can get us in touch with the Shipwreck Kelly family, we'll do anything. Craig will give you.
Shipwreck
We'll,
Kelly estate.
I'll,
We'll
I'll
do-
send you my urine.
we'll trade free pee for Shipwreck. Can you imagine? We could get him out of the jam.
Yeah, Free P was my backup name behind Craig's golden urine.
I was gonna ask what's the modern equivalent of this, but you're right. It's like just raw dogging, like the raw dogging fad.
Flight. Or it's
Yeah.
like,
Also,
or
just
it's
the
like
raw
a-
dogging fat, like being on a plane without any.
Well, it's like, you know how now
Yeah,
that
for reference, if you don't know what raw, like the slang
not
raw
a
dogging is,
sexual
yeah.
thing.
It's just going on a plane, not having a book, not having any music, not having any
It's doing nothing.
entertainment.
Oh my god!
Stare-
Oh my god! Oh my
Staring at the
god!
back of the seat like putty.
I learned that Carlos raw dogs while he drives. Carlos doesn't like music while he drives, and his siblings think it's insane. But Carlos doesn't like podcasts because it's work.
He needs to
And
focus.
he doesn't do music. He just sits there and drives in silence for like an
Just-
hour.
Just stare at the road.
Sometimes I do that.
Do you
yeah,
really?
I do too.
I run that way, but here's what I'll say.
I like to think.
Don't you like running that way? We talked about
I
this.
run without music. Yeah, yeah.
I don't consider that raw dogging. God.
Well, to be clear, I can't run for very long.
Sure. But like driving is an activity. You are actively doing something. Sitting on a plane, you are doing nothing.
That's true. No, that's true. I like to run without music because you end up your thoughts. It's almost like you get a little supercut of everything that's like you're happy with or bothering you. You figure stuff
it
out.
becomes like a background. It's a secondary activity.
Yeah, it's like my second screen.
Yeah, it's like how you think of things in the shower, you know?
Yeah.
But I think while driving a car and not listening to anything, I don't consider that really raw dogging because you are actively doing something.
You're trying to stay alive.
But why?
Yeah.
Why don't you want?
You're operating a piece of machinery.
Why wouldn't you put music? It's just silent.
you-
and turn
you
it
to-
off.
Well, sometimes it's just nice to just like be with your thoughts and not be stimulated for once.
I don't remember that.
just thinking.
Can you imagine? Isn't it
Why
like?
do you run then?
no,
Without,
I'm
We're
kidding.
gonna start talking
I'm-
about like how I raw dog doing the dishes.
No, I'm
Right.
kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
raw dog sleep.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just. I'm kidding. I'm just saying. I think it's like the biggest difference
Yeah.
between us and previous generations is just the ability to be alone with your thoughts.
No, I refuse.
It's actually like we just been. You know, I will say that's the one thing. The only thing every generation has in common is that they think the people older than them are out of touch, and the people younger than you don't get it. And obviously,
Kai. You don't
and-
know anything.
you-
5 years
unbelievable.
younger than me? You'll see.
And so everyone looks at the younger generation and is like, "Oh yeah, why are you like this? Why are you like that?" And I will say, impossible for them to be alone with their thoughts for any amount of time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It is pretty boring.
Sometimes I have to force myself to be alone with my thoughts. Like I
Yeah.
have to like reprogram
Yeah.
my brain. Like it's okay to have nothing to do or hear or watch for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's weird.
All right, we should probably get out of here.
Yeah.
Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you to Richter. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Kai. I feel like I should apologize to someone. I don't remember who or what. Craig's the people that
Are we apologizing to Abby for besmirching?
he should apologize to the woman who broke the pole sitting record that he's
No,
besmirching.
I don't.
the-
I disagree.
But I feel
I'm
like-
with Craig on this one.
But what if they
She-
all had
she-
platforms? You're just diminishing her
no, I don't. They
accomplishments.
didn't all have platforms.
It's a misrepresentation of what she did.
Austin sent a picture of Shipwreck Kelly. It's like a small, tiny, like maybe 12 by 12 little square platform.
Oh, yeah, I see him.
He probably hated everyone in his life. Please email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com if you can get us
He's got
in touch.
headphones on.
This
With
is way more
Shipwreck Kelly's
impressive.
family.
This qualifies as pole sitting to me.
Please-
He's on like a bicycle seat.
Please DM us on Instagram if you need Craig's piss at Ringer Fantasy Football on Instagram.
Only
And
if your parents are testing you. Nothing that it could get me legally in trouble.
that's why the ticker is there.
Right.
That's why Richter added the ticker.
It's only if like your parents, don't want you having a good time. And only for marijuana. Nothing. Nothing else. Nothing more. Yeah. Anyway,
Thank you, Lord.
Lord.
Thank you, System of a Down.
Sure.
Wake up.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not a band that was for me, but I'm familiar.
Okay. That's all I got to say about that. Yeah.
How'd you think of them?
Toxicity. I was thinking about your golden piss. I don't know. Just kind of one thing led to another.
Okay. Heifetz, any thoughts on System of a Down?
I don't know anything about them. I just knew that sound, the song you just did. Could you do it again?
No.
Oh.
Wake up.
Yeah.
I don't know the words, so I'm just going to say like.
I know the beginning. I don't know the word. Yeah.
I wanted to. It's a pretty good song. I actually really like that song.
Toxicity?
Yeah.
And they have another big one, Chop Suey.
Yes. It's a good one.
Don't know that. At least I'll
Wait, is the song I was singing Toxicity or Chop Suey? I don't actually know.
Yeah, I don't know the names of
Should I
songs.
play
I might have got it
Should
mixed
I
up.
briefly play it?
Yeah.
It's been.
Wait,
you get
we're
2
already.
seconds. Ready? No, that's not it, right?
We're already gonna get sued for one thing.
Okay,
Toxicity.
Also,
here's
if everyone-
Toxicity. Here's Toxicity.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
All right. Also, for everyone listening who's made it this far, my God, we're gonna try to do soon, maybe next week. We're gonna try to do the 1 second songs. Thank you to everyone who emailed us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com for the songs you could recognize in literally 1 second. I saw them. Thank you for your patience.
Someone
we're
said
gonna try to do it
wake
next
up
week.
is Chop Suey, which is the opposite of what I just thought. Someone in the comments.
Okay.
But I don't know. Whatever.
So you got it
Obviously,
wrong.
I don't know. But they also have a song named Toxicity. Sorry, haven't I interrupted you? What were you saying?
I don't remember, but are the Knicks? What's the score of the Knicks Celtics game? Are they winning? If they're winning, I'm gonna end the show.
The Knicks are getting destroyed.
Fuck no. Wow, what's the
Yeah,
score?
They're down like 25 to the Celtics at the end of the third.
Are you shitting me?
It's 113 to 87.
113 to 87. What is Karl Anthony Towns doing? What's Brunson doing?
Karl Anthony Towns
this need to be part of the show?
He appears to be sitting on top of a pole during the game. Towns has 12 points.
I got it.
Tatum has 30,
Well played.
Goodbye, everyone.
37.